Hello, everybody. Yes, it is here. Unai Emery's debut as Aston Villa manager has come. We have a man at the ground, as you can see there. Paddy, the wonderful Paddy, is over there rubbing shoulders and hobnobbing with Brian Little and Dennis Mortimer, I might add, earlier on today. But he is here. He is over at the game, and we're going to get his insight into this game as well ASAP. But yeah, it's a big day for Aston Villa, big day for Unai Emery. On TV, and yeah, look, as I say, this is one that hopefully we'll be able to showcase where this club is going over the next few weeks and over the next few years, should I say, with a new man in charge. Paddy, what's the feeling like around Villa Park at the moment? You've been over there doing extensive research into the psyche of Aston Villa fans since Wednesday night or Thursday, is it? So,
Yeah,
what's the feeling? Is I would imagine it's buoyant and expectant, and people are looking forward to this game today.
buoyant and expectant, definitely, but probably a little bit of apprehension in there as well. So I think we've all had these false dawns now, and we're waiting on the right man to come in and change it up for the good. And I think people tend to believe that this is the man that can do it. So we're all hopeful, and I'm hopeful that he is the man. So yeah, he has my full back, and I think we just all and the general consensus from everybody is we need to be patient. This isn't going to happen overnight. So
Of course.
let's buy into the long term project here. We've had a number of shitty projects. This one's going to be a big one
Absolutely,
eventually.
and I think, like as I say, for me, very much so. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to watch this for what it is today. It's a team that will be cobbled together with a man that's been here since Wednesday, and we may be structured in certain areas. We may not be a flamboyant team going forward today. We may grind this out. We may lose 4-0. It's kind of like, as I said before, the Newcastle game. That it was not a kind of a game to get too high or get too low, regardless of what happened with it. And I said that there was a potential that we could go out and get beaten 3-0. Now, we did get absolutely walloped by Newcastle for a finish. But we could, like, this team is so up and down and it's so flaky. Excuse me, so flaky that a manager coming in on a Wednesday and turning things around, look, it just doesn't happen. That's fairy tale stuff. But look, as I say, we want to see green shoots of recovery today. We want to see things that maybe we haven't seen before. We want to see the formation. We want to see what names are on the team sheet. Are people in out of the wilderness? I would be very surprised if we see wholesale wilderness changes, on the team, because I think that they're going to work to a system or to a structure that probably would have been there previously and then integrate as they go along. But today is a game to sit back to watch it. And I suppose take it in for what it is, and it may very well end up being a loss today. It may very end up being one of those games whereby Graham Souness or whoever is in the studio afterwards says this is one of the worst games of football I've ever seen, and I don't really care, because it's all about building a foundation today and potentially getting any points that are on offer at all today. And if we come away with 1 point, I think it's an absolute win for a figurative win, should I say, for this team today.
Mm, I think so too. Any kind of result, I think, would be a bonus today. I'm not expecting much, but look, it's a new dawn. We might get a bounce. You never know. It'll be refreshing to watch Man United without Bruno Fernandes in the referee's face every 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
it's look, we don't know what's going to happen. Um, I'm quietly confident that we'll put something together. But when I say put something together, I mean a performance. I'd probably take a narrow defeat or a draw. Absolutely, just snap your hands off for a draw right now. So
Mm.
every time I say that, though, we seem to be robbed. So I'm hoping that's not the case again today.
Well, looking at the people coming off the bus, Ludwig Augustinsson seems to be there, and he seems to have gear with him. Whether he's just there as part of him bringing all the squad and all the players there. He's there. Cam Archer came off the bus. He had his boot bag with him, so he's somebody who is fit and ready to play. I was looking at Jacob Ramsey come in there. Robin Olsen with his backpack on. Yeah, as I said there once again, Marvelous Nakamba is there. Doesn't look like he's holding any boots or any equipment bag, so maybe he might be somebody that isn't in there. Bednarak has his boot bag with him. Obviously, Mings has his stuff with him. John McGinn. So they're just some people that I've looked at there and had some salacious. Is salacious the word I'm looking for? No, salacious. Is it fallacious? Oh Jesus! I shouldn't be trying to think of big words after the stag I was on last night. It'll make my hangover worse. But there was me just reading into things from a 1 minute and 10-second video that I just watched on and
And
Aston Villa's.
there's no point in reading into what gear they're carrying either, because they're only wash bags with their toiletries that they're carrying. All their boots are in there.
Well, but put it
So
this way: if you don't bring your toiletries, like, why would you bring your toiletries with you if you aren't going to be building up a sweat?
Well, I'm sure not every man would need the toiletries that Matty Cash carries a bloody trunk full of toiletries by the looks of it.
Well, Paddy, that hair isn't going to style itself. Like that hair is not
I
going
guess
to
so.
style itself. A couple of people here saying Ings isn't in the 11 today. Ramsey starts. So Rich B has it that Ramsey starts, as does Dina. Ings not in the 11. Let's see what the story is there. We will know. We will have the lineup in the next few moments, which is always the case. Paddy, I suppose, going back to what I mentioned there about the feeling around the ground. Um, you've been at the ground early enough today. What is like? It's not the atmosphere I'm looking for, but does there seem like there's a sense of pride with regards to it, or is there what's the word I'm trying to look for? Can you feel a difference? More so than an expectation from the fans there. Like obviously the club, or this is going to be a big day for the club. There's going to be media, national media here looking to do UNAI Emery. The English Premier League is collecting good managers. Lopetegui in at Wolves as well. It's the place to be for managers, and we're dining at
Yeah.
that top table of European managers again. What's the feeling from the club, I suppose, about today, as opposed to more the supporters? Are they making much of a
Well,
big deal of it? Like,
yeah, but it's like he's on the front page of the program, and there's a big tifo here on the whole thing. I don't know whether you can see all those things on the back of the chairs. Everyone has to hold them up for Remembrance Sunday. So there's a lot going on. So it'll be overshadowed a little bit, I would imagine, by the commemorations that will happen before the game. So it's from that point of view, you're not getting too much information. But he doesn't seem to be the showman that wants it to be all about him either. So
yeah,
I would imagine he'll just come out and give a clap, and that'll be the end of it, and we'll move on and let the project begin.
yeah. Um, just for posterity and just to put it in, just to make sure that everybody knows where I was coming from. The word I was looking for was fallacious, spelled Fallacious, and it means based on a mistaken belief. So that was the word I was looking for that I couldn't quite get out of my brain. But that's the kind of brilliant stuff we bring you here on the For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. We bring you an English lesson as well. The teams, I would imagine, are out. We've got Twitter up here. Come on, Twitter. Where are my teams? Has the team been announced yet? We have a starting 11, and it
We
is
do.
Martinez in goals, Cash, Konza, Mings, Dina, Ramsey, then Donker, Douglas Luiz, Buendia, Watkins, and Bailey. So, interesting setup. Looks like it's a 4-3-3 for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like you've got obviously Dendonker and Douglas Luiz will be in there in that midfield, but it doesn't look like Ramsey's going to be playing wide in that formation. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the workload is divided between those three midfielders and who starts where and who plays what, because obviously Dendonker is going to be the stopper, the Francis Coquelin type player in there. I'm not sharing my screen, am I?
No,
Why
you're
isn't
not.
that sharing? No.
You're telling us all
Uh,
about fallacious.
my screen. Why won't my screen share this now?
By the way, Neil, before we get into discussing the team, I did mention the other night about Morgan Sanson. He's on the bench.
Morgan Sanson has made a couple of the bench for the last few games. He was making it under Danks as well, but he is on the bench, which is good. The bench is Robin Olsen, McGinn, Sanson, Ings, Chambers, Augustinson, Young, Bednarak, and Kamara. Kamara does make the subs bench, which is nice to see.
And that's the big
Take
that's the big news, isn't it?
Bar Diego Carlos. That's your lot. That's what you got. That's what you got. And yeah, so I was kind of half right. Nakamba didn't have his boot bag with him or his toiletries bag. He's not on the bench, but Cam Archer did, and he isn't on the bench either. So maybe he's the extra man that might be able to come in, or that was maybe potentially going to come in if somebody was injured or not, or late fitness tests or whatever the case may be. But no, this is the team that Aston Villa are going to go to war with today against Manchester United. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Emi Buendia, how he is utilised under Unai Emery, because he seems to be one of the players, Paddy, that everybody has kind of pointed the finger at and said, yeah, I think this could be the kickstart he needs. What do you think?
Possibly. I'm just trying to figure out what way he's obviously going to play him out wide, judging by what we're looking at here. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing a kickoff, how these guys are lined up, especially those last three of Wendy, Watkins, and Bailey, just to see what way we're shaped out. Because like Watkins has been playing off the wing and getting a little bit of change. you're not going to see Buendia play through the middle of a three. So is it a two behind a one? Maybe I don't know. Um, Impossible to tell, I suppose, until we get started.
Yeah,
Is it a case that it's a 4-2-3-1 and Ramsey plays in the three with Buendia in behind Watkins maybe and Bailey on the other side?
I don't know. He only like that was only ever tried, I think, against Manchester City recently. You know, when we got that 1-1 draw
Yeah,
against them, he did try that. Gerrard did, but I'd just be surprised. Obviously, as well, we neglected to mention Coutinho isn't on the bench.
yeah,
Not even in the match day squad today. I would imagine that there's some injury there. I don't think maybe he was dropped. I don't know, but I would imagine we get news on that because obviously the high profile nature of Philippe Coutinho, that one won't be kept under wraps for too long as to why he isn't on the bench. And I'm sure that news will filter out there at the moment or later on, should I say, prior to the game. I'm sure he'll probably be asked about it in his pre-match if he does do any pre-match work as well. Yeah, as you said there, Paddy, I think the attacking impetus is going to be one focal point that we're going to look at today. Obviously, I suppose the positioning of the fullbacks is going to be another thing. How far, how high up will they go? Where will Lucadinia's starting point speak from an attacking point of view? But as I say, my big thing is what was going to be the division of work between the midfield three there. We've not seen, specifically not seen Dendoncker, Douglas Luiz and Ramsey start the game together in that type of a formation. So it's going to be really interesting to see what way it works out and to see how we can combat with Manchester United's midfield. Because for even though they are missing Bruno Fernandes, McTominay, or whoever else is playing with them comes into that position there, it's still going to be a formidable enough midfield. Speaking of Manchester United, let's see if we can find their team and have a look at their team as well.
Feel a bit dirty putting that into your Twitter search, I'd say.
What?
Feel a bit dirty putting that into your Twitter search.
Oh, yeah. So they're starting 11, and they're one of those clubs. Oh, get out of town! I'm not downloading your application. Feck off. So it's De Gea in goals, Lindelof, Martinez making up the center halves, with Dalot and Shaw making up the two fullbacks. Casemiro, Ericsson, Van der Beek. All playing in midfield with a front three then of Ronaldo, Rashford, and Garnacho. I don't like the look of that lineup from the point of view of I didn't want to see Ronaldo on the team sheet. I didn't want to see him there, but I suppose he was the natural person to come in and to rejig that forward line with Bruno Fernandes out. But that's a formidable team. Casemiro is obviously going to do what he does in there. Ericsson will be allowed to be deployed a small bit further forward. And yeah, as I say, I hate to see a young player come in to start for Manchester United against Aston Villa, because we all have seen that movie before with the likes of Federico Makeda and so on and so on and so on. Like,
Still giving us nightmares.
Still giving us nightmares. Yeah, I really hate that. I hate to see them start. So I would have preferred to see someone like Elanga or Martial that are known quantity start in this team as well. But you can get at this team. I don't really rate Lindelof. Haven't rated him for a while. They pushed him out wide, out to play as a right back at times last season, and I thought that kind of exposed him a small bit. But yeah, look, as I say, we have to be combative with this team. I think we have to go for the juggler in midfield, and that's where the battle for this game is going to be won.
Yeah, and that's it. The debate will be whether he will go for the juggler. Does he have anything to lose here? I don't think so. I think he should just go for it. They're there to be got at. They're not the world beater that we know Man United to be over the years. So why not go for it and see what we can get out of it?
Absolutely. And I think that would be, well, I don't think we go for it. I think we're going to be structured. I think we're going to frustrate because I don't think we're in a position to ship a 2 or 3 goal loss. We very may well do that. And I don't want to be negative or anything. I obviously want Aston Villa to win, but I think it'll be damage limitation today, given the short week of implementation that we would have had in the training ground. And that's just my only reasoning for thinking that. But it's really exciting. Like, this is going to be a good game. It's a 2:00 kickoff, and as I say, it's going to be it's a game that I think we can go toe to toe with Manchester United, but we will have to be disciplined through all positions. I think that's more why Dendoncker has been brought in there, because he's not a flashy guy. He is disciplined. Yes, he can be a bit one-paced at times, but breaking up that play, making sure the likes of Ericsson and Rashford, if they do cut into central positions, making sure that they are marshaled doing in there, and that maybe somebody can leave a small bit on them to let them know that they've been in a battle, or let them know that they've been here at Villa Park. Um, I'm just flicking through Twitter on my phone a moment just to see if there is anything on Coutinho. Anybody out there in the comments want to pop into the comments there what they feel about, or if they've heard anything about why Coutinho ain't on the bench? Looks like there's people are saying that they are. He just has some niggles. He's not going to be risked for today. That could be it. Let's go to some of the comments actually while we're waiting there, and I will stop sharing that the Manchester United team. So good. So let me start. This is an interesting one. So McGinn is not captain anymore. But he's not starting today. I don't think. Well, he's not starting today because we've seen the team. But Emery said that he wasn't going to change the captain at this moment in time. But Emi Martinez taking over the captain's armband again today, I think, and that's something we've seen in past games where McGinn hasn't started. Yeah, Emi Martinez is the captain, so that is following to a trend. Simon Watton says an Emery special with 4-4-2, Ramsey left, Buendia right, and Bailey and Watkins up top. What do you think, Paddy?
Well, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? That would be very interesting.
Could be. It could be. A lot of people saying that they would have started Ings instead of Watkins. I look. I can't disagree with that based on the performances recently. As I say, I don't know anything about Danny. Like there was, I'm not going to say rumors, but I was reading stuff on Thursday whereby he had a knock, and maybe that's why he isn't. So while we have all our players available to us, there's some of them carrying niggles at the minute. But he's on the bench, and I'm sure he's going to be ready to come in if needed. So where are we? Yeah, a couple of people here saying Ramsey is a left midfielder. I'd be interested to see it. He does have good work rate, and he does bring a small bit of, like, for a young man, he's tall, he's touching 6 foot, if not 6 foot, and he has bulked out a small bit more, so he would bring that small, like, he's not a shrinking violet in midfield either. Like, we remember him, was it against Arsenal? Was it where he just literally was firing himself into tackles, and he looked like he was really up for it? Or was it maybe Southampton? I'm not sure, but when he wants to put on the aggression, he can do in midfield. Maybe we do play him as a wide midfielder, kind of like we used to play at times. Remember when we would break into kind of like a 4-5 or a 4-4-2 at times under Dean Smith when we first came up, and Conor Hourihane would move out to that left side. Maybe we do something like that with Ramsey. I don't know, but once again, as I said, it will definitely be interesting. But a couple of you guys are thinking that it will be it could be a 4-4-2. AVFC agent Unai Emery says, and this is a good point as well, no Varane, Fernandes, Anthony or Sancho in the Manchester United squad. So it just goes to show how bloody impressive their squad building has been when you've got like people there that are all big money signings, for Manchester United, and they're all out, and all those players would likely they would definitely waltz into our team. So but we still need to be wary.
I'm very happy about the fact that we won't be looking at Anthony today, because that would be the kind of one that would undo us, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, do you want to start putting your scores, what you think the score will be, into the comments there, and we'll do a quick rundown of it. I'm just afraid I'll lose Paddy soon as people start to pack into the ground, and I'll be honest with you, my head is pounding. So I may not be longer for this podcast, should I say? So a couple of it's two of us exactly. A couple of people saying there. Kevin Donnelly says new manager bounce and not a great United team. Villa win 3-2. That would be good. I would like a game with goals that Villa come out in the right end of, because usually when there's lots of goals, Villa don't come out in the right end of those performances. So I would absolutely love that. Michael is in the ground. Michael, good to see you, man. If you see a Paddy-shaped man running around the place over there, don't be afraid to make yourself known to him. Specifically, I think, where are you? Lower Holt, Paddy?
Lower Holt, yeah.
Lower Holt, as low as you can get, nearly. Beautiful day is right. Absolutely beautiful day. And Pat is back. Remember, you mistakenly banned Pat. I found out how to get him back. So Pat Max is back with his OG use. Good to have you back, Pat.
I would like to apologize to Pat. I did spend 20 minutes after that podcast trying to figure out how to get him back, but I couldn't. But you work it out.
I couldn't figure it out, but it's actually simple enough to do as well within settings. You wouldn't have been able to do it on your end because you wouldn't have had the back end logins for the YouTube channel. But yeah,
Fair
so
enough.
apologies about that. We do try and ban some of the, let's just call them the adult bots that would arrive into the comment stream sometimes. But we do apologize about that, Pat, and good to have you back. So Liam Ojeda says, good to see the French contingent are back. You mentioned that as well, Paddy, that we have Digne back in the team, Sanson is back on the bench, and Boubacar Kamara. Do we think we'll see Boubacar Kamara for a period today, or would it really kind of depend on what way the game is going? Like I don't think he throws him on if it's a complete last cause.
Yeah. Well, I definitely don't think he throws him on if it's a lost cause, and I can't see it being anything else other than tight. So unless he's ready, he's not going to be in there. And I don't want to see him rush back either just to get his place for the World Cup. He needs to be right for after the World Cup, And if that means he play 10 minutes here or there, I'm fine with that. But I suppose with 5 subs, he probably will get one run from the start before the World Cup, maybe midweek or against Brighton next weekend. So it'll be an interesting one to see. But I'm just worried that he's not ready, and I don't want him to pick up any further injuries.
Yeah, I think so too. Your scores, guys, are coming in hot and fast, so let's get a couple of these up on the screen. Darren C, good to see you, man. 3-1 Villa, he says. AVFC agent Unai Emery says 3-1 to United. Be Happy says 1-1. Limo Ed says 2-1 to Aston Villa. Mystic Max says Aston Villa win 3-2. Jason TCP says 1-1. Nicholas says 3-0. John Steele comes in with a 2-2. Craig Elwell says 3-1 to Manchester United. Kahua Gaming, Vinny, how are you doing? Says 1-1. We score in the 18th minute and they level in 45 plus 2. Get your fiver on that.
Very
and you'll
specific.
be a wealthy man. Very specific, exactly. Lion Eye says 2-2, like Coutinho's first game last season. I wouldn't mind that, specifically if we were, although I would like us to win 3-2. As opposed to draw 2-2. That would be nice. Tawan, good to have you, Tawan. Saying 2-1 to Aston Villa. Be Happy says a draw. Rachel says 2-0 to Aston Villa or to Manchester United. Hope she's wrong, or she says she hopes she's wrong. Richie Ryan says confident to the bounce today. 2-1 Aston Villa. MacBees, John, good to have you. 1-1 will be satisfactory. Del Boy, gladly take a 1-1. I'm thinking 1-1 is a rational kind of result that I would be happy with as well. So Andy Dainty says 1-1 as well. Mick O'Leary says 3-2 up the Villa. Stephen Kiley says looking snazzy, Paddy, bring home the 3 points. Dan, if you do, says 1-0 either way. I am looking shook. You're right. Forever Positive says 2-1 to Aston Villa. Errol says we need to win or we're in the bottom 3, so 1-0 Aston Villa win. Ronan 3-1 Aston Villa. 1995 all over again. I'd absolutely love it. 2-1 Emery's Villa. Come on, boys, says David Stiles. Where else are we? Matthew says 3-1 to Manchester United. Nick says 2-1 to Aston Villa. Soupy Mark is trying to be realistic, so he says 11-0 to Villa. I love it. Kahua says this. That was a duplicate from Kahua. 1-1 says Damian Leach. 2-1 says AVFC Simcoe County. Nil says Gary Evans. Spencer Bakewell says 1-1. And the last one, there's more coming in. Jack Burns says 1-0 United penalty via Louise fouling Pogba, even though he doesn't play for them anymore. 2-1 to the Villa, says Pete. Dancing Brave says 2-0 to Villa. John Branbury says 1-0 Villa. Ross says 3-0 to Manchester United. Where else are we? Simon says 2-1 to Aston Villa with a Ramsey Worldie. Kenny says 1-1. Dylan says 2-1 to Aston Villa. Adam Phillips says 3-1 to Villa. Wayne Walker Cash says 3-2 to Aston Villa. New manager bounce today. Rich B says 2-1 to Manchester United. And we need one more. We can't finish on a Man United score. That's perfect. Daniel Cove is in with 1-0 to Aston Villa. And Turnpike Tumbler is our last one in with a 1-1 draw. A nice little splattering of either ways there. Some thinking United will win, some thinking Villa will win, some thinking a draw. So this one is going to be an interesting watch. It is live in 43 minutes, and for that very reason, everybody should get settled. Paddy, you should get settled with a pint before the game. I'm going to go in and get settled on my couch before the game. I hope all the rest of you do exactly the same. It's as I say, I'm going to be watching this for what it is today. It's more so looking to see what I can garner from setups, from formations, from tactics, from how certain players respond to to being maybe brought into the team in a certain way today. And that's the way I'm going to look at it. I'm not as specifically looking to our result, although I would take any points from this game whatsoever. So thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. We will be back. I will be back anyway with a post game straight afterwards. So I would love if you could join us for that too. If you do like this, give us a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe. We've just absolutely blown past 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is absolutely amazing. Let's make it 5. So if you know someone you think might like these chats, these even if they are hungover ones where I can't remember what words mean, that's okay too. You know, people might like that. But join us again for the post-match. Paddy, enjoy the game. Enjoy the game with Stephen. And if you meet any more famous people, ask them, can they come on the podcast? That would be cool. So I'm going to leave all the rest of you go. I'll leave you go as well, Paddy. I think your reception is beginning to drop out there. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Here's hoping to an Aston Villa win. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.